hey, Earthmates. I haven't posted in a while, but I feel like telling this story because my old TikTok account got banned because of other stories I was telling. But I'm going to retell it again because I never saved the video. So I am somebody who gets downloads, premonitions. I was born with my gifts and abilities. I come from a long history of seers, going back, way, way back, even to the time of the witch trials. I'm sure of it. Anyway, I had told about this premonition that I had about, and I'm not going to mention any names because they'll probably take the video down like they did the last time. But I'm just going to say it's about Cheeto Benito. So let me just give you a backstory. So back in 2007, when I was like in my mid-30s, single, working for a law firm in San Fernando Valley, I had a best friend who knew people who were club promoters. And she comes to me one day and says, hey, I got us on the VIP list of this really, like, upscale club. And I had gone to other clubs with her, and I just wasn't a fan of it. I always attract weirdos and douchebags, and I'm just not interested. And she likes to drink. I'm not a drinker. I don't need to drink to have a really good time. You know, adding alcohol to me is just asking for trouble. I don't need liquid courage. I got enough. Anyway, she talks me into going to this club where somebody she knew put us on the VIP list. This was back in June of 2007. So she and I go out. We go and find really cute dresses and we get dolled up for the night. And we head on over to this club in LA called the Nightingale. And we get there, and we don't even have to stand in line because we were on the guest list, so they let us right in. And it was, I don't know about now, but I get, again, this is 2007. It was really beautiful inside. It was, upscale, just like she said. And there was a VIP event going on, and there was plenty of famous people there, and athletes, and, other people that weren't famous anymore, but they used to be. And we're out on the dance floor having a great time. As a matter of fact, Paris Hilton was DJing, like, for the first hour or two or something like that of the set. And she was actually pretty good. I didn't know she was talented like that. So anyways, we're having a great time on the dance floor. And all of a sudden, I get bumped from someone behind me. And the dance floor was packed. And you know how it is when you're at clubs, you sometimes bump into people and, you expect that you're going to turn around and say, oh, I'm so sorry, because I don't know whose fault it is. I just always apologize because I'm a polite, well-educated person with manners. Anyways, I turn around and lo and behold, Cheeto Benito is walking through the dance floor. Now, he could have easily walked around, but no, he wanted the Red Sea of people to depart for his majesty as he's walking through the dance floor. And do you think he said, excuse me, or I'm sorry? No, he did not. And I almost fell over. I mean, I was wearing stilettos. I did that whole crazy, weird thing that women do to catch themselves from twisting an ankle and falling over and embarrassing themselves. And I steadied myself. And then this piece of shit walks by and, doesn't say excuse me or anything. He then looks over his left shoulder and looks over in my direction like he's sniffing shit, like I'm some insignificant, peon in his little world. Like, and he kept going. Anyways, I ended up shouting, and I don't know if you heard me or not, but I said, excuse you, asshole. So anyways, that was my first and one and only meeting of this particular person. And the VIP event was his birthday that weekend of 2007. And no, the missus was not with him. She was pregnant with their child. But you know who was there? Somebody named Stormy. Anyway, Fast forward to 2023. I have a premonition, but that's not my first premonition. I had another premonition about him in 2019, and I had posted that on my old Twitter account, which got hacked and, is no longer around. But that premonition was I was standing inside the White House in the foyer, and I was holding the front door of the White House open and watching the missus with suitcases and dragging them behind her. She's coming out of my right side from some sort of hallway and walking towards the door. And I'm basically holding the door open, almost like, get the fuck out kind of thing. And she stops before she exits the White House and then grabs my face. She grabbed my chin and then kind of held it up and was like staring at me, like really upset. And I remember in the dream or premonition that I pulled my face away from her and sternly looked back at her and then basically signaled like, you gotta go. Anyways, I told that story because I understood that premonition as they were not going to win the election. They were going to lose. And I knew that. I've made many predictions before, but I'm not some famous person that everyone knows about. But the people who know me know I've made predictions, and they've all come to pass. So the next prediction I have was the end of 2023, probably the beginning of 2024, I want to say. Maybe spring of 2024 is when I had this premonition. So in this premonition, I'm living at my old house, which I sold. And I'm standing in my bedroom, facing my bed. And just as I was about to walk out of the bedroom, Cheeto Benito was standing in the doorway of my bedroom. And I looked at him shocked, and I was like, what the hell are you doing? And he just looked at me, walked past me, and then starts crawling into my bed. Like, he lifts the comforter, and he literally gets in with all of his clothes on and his shoes. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Then he gets under the covers, and he lays down on my pillow, and he pulls the covers up to his neck. And he says to me, you know. And then suddenly his face started to decompose. It was almost like something out of like a Steven Spielberg movie where you see the face decomposing, and then the skin starts to like almost melt off, and then you just see skeletal remains. And his hair got really long and then really white. And it freaked me out. So I immediately walked out of my bedroom and started to head out the back door. And when I went to exit the back sliding door to my old yard, when I got to that yard, it was not my backyard of the current house or of that house. It turns out it's the backyard of a house that I briefly lived in as a little girl in Miami in the early 70s. And I remember being really confused because I haven't been to Florida since I was 2 years old, and I've had no desire to go. But just as I was walking out, I had this sensation of just peace of mind and happiness. And then I turn around and I see my deceased English bulldog, Chloe, coming out of the door, and she's like running and bounding, like jumping. And there's these steps that kind of go down, and I freak out because she's got these little short legs and she's not very athletic. So I got scared, and I'm like, oh my God. I would just like put my hands in front of me like to catch her, thinking she was just going to come crashing down on the ground and hurt herself. But she didn't. She's bounding and hopping around like Tigger does, all happy and excited, and she passes me and she looks so happy. And then I wake up. Anyways, I told that story and it got taken down several months ago, but I said who it was. So I'm just gonna say it's Cheeto Benito. I have predicted his death for quite some time, but when I had the premonition, I knew that what I had previously predicted was going to come to pass. And I'm saying it now. He has a fated, destined event with death, and it's going to happen soon. Talk to you later!